Nitya Lila Pravishtamastata Shrishwan Shil Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur ki jai, Shil Prabhupada ki jai, Jayam Vishnupad Nitya Lila Pravishtamastata Shrishmad Srila Mahabhagavat Srila Gorkishoras Babaji Maharaj ki jai, Sachinanandan Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur ki jai, Vaishnav Sarvabhauma Srila Jagannatha Babaji Maharaj ki jai, Gaudiya Vedanta Acharya Srila Baladeva Jibhushan ki jai, Rasik Shidamani Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur ki jai, Narottam Das Acharya Shamanat Rai ki jai, Shri Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami ki jai, Shri Rup Sanatan Bhattaragana Shri Jiva Gopal Bhatta Daswaran Shat Goswami ki jai, Rai Ramadas Subdam Rava ki jai, Namacharya Shal Haridas Thakur ki jai, Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai, Namaskar ki jai, Vrindavan Dham ki jai. Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Harinam Sankirtan ki jai, Gaur Premanande. Haribo.
So now Srimati Radhika Didi will be singing beautiful bhajan. Which bhajan?
Shri Guru Charana Kamala Bhajaman by our Srila Gurudev, Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayana Goswami Maharaj.
Right.
Our favorite.
Beautiful.
Shri Guru Charana Kamala Bhajaman, Shri Guru Charana Kamala Bhajaman, Guru Charana Kamala Bhajaman, Charana Kamala Bhajaman, Guru Charana Kamala Bhajaman, Charana Kamala Bhajaman, Guru Kripa Vina Nahi kai sadamba, Guru Kripa Vina Nahi kai sadamba, Bhaja mana bhaja anushan, Bhaja mana bhaja anushan, Shri Guru Charana Kamala Bhajaman, Shri Guru Charana Kamala Bhajaman, मिलता नहीं ऐसा दुर्लभ जानम, मिलता नहीं ऐसा दुर्लभ जानम, ब्रह्मता हूँ छौड़ा हूँ भगवान, ब्रह्मता हूँ छौड़ा हूँ भगवान, किसी को मिलता है आहो भाग्यों से, किसी को मिलता है आहो भाग्यों से, हरी बातों के दर्शन, हरी बातों के दर्शन, श्री गुरु चरना कमला बजमान, श्री गुरु चरना कमला बजमान, कृष्णा कृपा की आनंद मूर्ति, कृष्णा कृपा की Ananda Muranti Dina Jana Karuna Nidha Dina Jana Karuna Nidha Bhakti Bhava Dina Prakashata Bhakti Bhava Dina Prakashata Shri Guru Patita Pavan Shri Guru Patita Pavan Shri Guru Charana Kamala Bhajana Shri Guru Charana Kamala Bhajana Shruti Smriti Putana Namani Shruti Smriti Putana Namani Kina Shasta Brahma Kina Shasta Brahma Tanamana Jivana Guru Padana Prana Tanamana Jivana Guru Padana Prana Shri Hari Namarata Sada Hari Namarata Shri Guru Charana Kamala Bhajana Shri Guru Charana Kamala Bhajana Guru Charana Kamala Bhajana Charana Kamala Bhajana Guru Charana Kamala Bhajana Charana Kamala Bhajana Jaya Gurudeva Jaya Gurudeva Gurudeva Jaya Gurudeva Jaya Gurudeva Jaya Gurudeva Gurudeva Jaya Gurudeva Guru Parampara Guru Parampara Parampara Guru Parampara Guru Parampara Guru Parampara Parampara Guru Parampara Nitya Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitya Gaura Hari Bol Nitya Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitya Gaura Hari Bol Nitya Gaura Premanandi Hari Hari Bol.
Okay. Oh, that was very, very beautiful. Thank you so much, Radhika Didi. Very, very sweet. So this is our second Gurudeva Vani Vaishnavi Pracar Zoom program. And last time, Sharani Didi and Basanti Didi, that was very, very nice. And this week we have Shrimati Vichitri Didi, all the way from Vrindavan, and Radhika Didi from London. So I'll start my pranam mantra. Om Magina Tamandasha Gananjana Salakaya Chakshimli Tamyena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Vanchakalparubhyascha kripasinvacha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Gove Gorchandraya Vedikaya Tadale Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaye Tadbhaktaye Namo Namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So we have the great pleasure in welcoming Srimati Vichitri Didi, who will join us, and she'll be the first speaking about the glories of Shri Navadvip Dham. So just to tell you a little background about her, she first came into contact with devotees in 1968, many years ago, and she joined the movement in 1982 after visiting many temples in California. And she met Srila Gurudeva in 1993 in Mathura or Vrindavan, and accepted Harinam and Diksha at that time. So she's been living in Vrindavan ever since then. And I met Vichitri Didi actually in, I think it was 1994. I don't know if you remember, but it was in Devananda Gaudiya Mat in Navadvip. And I think Indulekha Didi took me there. And I stayed overnight. I stayed in the same room as you. You probably don't remember.
I
Anyway.
remember being with you in the long building in ISKCON, but
Right. Okay.
you were staying over there.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, so yes, so yeah, you were living in Vrindavan since 1993, I think.
Yes.
And I traveled with Vichitri Didi on Gurudev's tours all over the world as well from 1996, and yeah, 14 years until 2010. And of course, she's very well known for editing Gurudev's publications. I don't know how many publications have you edited? Many. You've published many publications of Gurudev's. So she's very learned and quite a lively character, that's for sure. Okay, anyway, so I think many of you know her. So I don't think there's more to be said, so you can begin.
Okay. Namo Vishnupadaya Radhikaya Priyatmine Shrimati Bhaktivedanta Narayani Tinamine Shri Krishna Laktate Sadakshanodaya Madhurigane Shiktam Varam Vedana Purushamantana Tvam Shri Krishna Namami. I offer pranam again and again to our beloved Gurudev, to our whole Rupanuga Guru Parampara. We have such an extraordinary line of acharyas that we're connected to. We're so fortunate. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada came to the West, and he brought this message of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We performed such an incredible, inconceivable miracle that how many we all picked up on this because of Srila Prabhupada that we're here, everyone. And it's so fantastic that this one person was able to go around the world and spread this philosophy. It's so sublime. It answers every question. There are no loopholes in this philosophy, and it's just a complete joy. The longer we practice, the more joyful it becomes, and it's quite addicting, and I highly recommend it for the whole world. And we're so fortunate. Just every day I'm counting my blessings. I've been living in Vrindavan Dham since 1993. I came just before I met Srila Gurudeva, and it was never my idea to come here, but our Parampara, somehow my Sukriti was ripe. Parampara picked me up, dropped me down here. I met Srila Gurudeva, and I've been here ever since, and everything's been arranged. So this year, the Parampara, they played a bit of a trick on me. I wasn't going to go to Navadvip. Nobody from here was going, and so many devotees canceled their tickets because of threats of COVID, and somehow somebody said, oh, come, we'll do parikrama together. I said, oh, all right. So that seemed like you should go. So I got my tickets, I flew, and I got there, and then it turned out this person wasn't really interested to do parikrama. So I was on my own. It was very bewildering. So they say Navadvip Dham is so merciful, and I thought, oh, she'll welcome me. I haven't been here for a year, and last year I went, and everything fell into place smoothly. Well, this year I just got one punch after another, and it was extremely austere for me and a bit bewildering, but somehow I made it through. I survived. I'm still smiling, and I did the full parikrama, and I went to every place, and I stayed in Mayapur this time. I didn't stay in Navadvip, but I wanted to be near Chaitanya Mat, and this was very wonderful to be with all of the other Gaudiya Mat Vaishnavas, and they have these wonderful kirtans, huge crowd of people at Chaitanya Mat in the evening for Gaur Arti, and it was very lively, and it was very joyful. I was glad to be there. And then for Gaur Purnima evening for the Abhishek, everybody went to the Yoga Peeth, and that was also extremely wonderful. And it was very nice to be with all these other Gaudiya Mat devotees this time. And I was hearing from Srila Bhakti Sarvasva Govinda Maharaj, and sometimes I could go out on parikrama with him. That was also very gratifying. So Navadvip Dham is definitely very special. And I was reading Prabodhananda Saraswati's Navadvip Shatakam this morning, and I have quite a few verses that I quoted, and he's so addicted. Also, if you read his Vrindavan Mahimamrita, Prabodhananda Saraswati's just glorifying the Dham again and again and again, and saying, I never want to leave, and the Dham is so merciful, I'm so fallen, so wretched, I have no virtues, and he said, but I want to stay here forever, and the Dham accepts everyone and never sends anybody away, and he, especially Navadvip Dham is known for this, for being extremely merciful. So he's saying the same thing about Navadvip Dham: give up all your attachments, forget your family, forget your wealth, forget everything, just throw yourself at the mercy of the Dham, and you'll be liberated. Anybody who spends their life there, lives their body there, they will receive the ultimate destination and achieve perfection. So this is very inviting. So I recommend everybody get it together, come live in the Dham, either Navadvip or Vrindavan. And I never planned on coming to Vrindavan because, unlike Navadvip, they say Vrindavan accepts offenses. So, but I was brought here, dropped down here. I'm still here, and I never expected to be able to stay, but somehow I'm here in Vrindavan now 28 years, and I'm always amazed because I'm known for being a little bit wild and sometimes, and who knows what I'm going to say, what I'm going to do, and I'm out of control half the time. Still, Vrindavan Dham keeps me here. Not only that, I'm living in style. Everything's provided for me. I just can't believe it. Just Vrindavan Dham is so kind to me, and I'm just amazed that I'm still here. So everybody, don't take a chance. Get it together. Come and pray. Stay here as soon as you can, and just somehow everything is provided. The Dham's very merciful, and just expect any miracle. And our Gurudev's also so powerful. So Mahaprabhu he's Supreme Bhagavan, and he also can arrange anything. And then, if they're going to take care of me, why they won't take care of everybody else? So Prabodhananda Saraswati, he's saying, Mayapur, where the ground is so soft, there is a great splendor of many jewels, many wonderful sounds of the birds and the animals, and wonderful trees and vines with many flowers. And this place is my life and soul. I become joyful just on hearing the glories of Navadvip. Give up all your material attachments and become fortunate by taking shelter of Antardvip. Navadvip is worshipped by the demigods and is full of all natural opulences like birds, flowers, trees, creepers, rivers, ponds, just everything, all the opulences of the forest. May the Goda forest, which is filled with the bliss of Radhika Raman's sweet pastimes, and which was sweetly founded by Sri Radha, shine in my heart. Many who worship Krishna do much tapasya to get Radha's merciful glance, but they're unsuccessful. But in Simantadweep, her glance is easily available. One who is firmly determined to stay in Navadweep until the end of his body has already performed all kinds of devotional service. Brahma and the demigods bowed down before such a person. All the birds, beasts, trees, and vines there are immersed in spiritual love. Someone may not have performed any spiritual activities, but who has wholeheartedly taken shelter of Navadweep will attain the joyful, pure love for Sri Radha's beloved. Do everything that opposes religious principles. Reject all religious duties. Abandon your guru in order to reside in Radha's forest. This is your supreme religious duty. That is devotion to your guru. Your sins are whatever stops you from residing in Gauravan, in Navadweep. This is Prabodhananda Saraswati's vision. When this body ends, he who stays in Navadweep, which is filled with wonderful, limitless mercy, will attain perfection. Anyone who lives in Mayapur, even you're filled with lust and all bad qualities, even you have no interest in the divine nature, still such a person will attain the supreme destination. Navadweep is the place where one may attain the ultimate happiness of devotional service, the highest of all happinesses in this world. Who will not take shelter of wonderful, blissful Navadweep, where millions of glorious kalpavriksha trees are embraced by the sweet vines of pure bhakti that are their wives, and where Brahmapur and all other holy places shine with great splendor? If people speak unbearable insults to me, as if I were a chandala or a dog or an ass, then I do not feel unhappy as I stay in the 9 islands of Navadweep, where the 9 processes of loving devotional service shine with great glory. When one understands that the moving and non-moving residents of Navadweep have forms of eternal spiritual nectar, then one becomes a genuine servant of Sri Radha's beloved, Sri Krishna. Wandering in Navadweep is the best of all opulences, the best of all religious principles, the best of all kinds of worship, the best of all perfections, the best of all glories, and the best of all oceans of sweetness. Godastal is filled with many pastime forest pavilions, many delightful lakes and ponds, beautiful trees, vines, and bushes everywhere, and many kinds of joyful birds and beasts. I have to get some water. Excuse me. Navadweep is Vrindavan, manifested in the land of Bengal. Sri Chaitanya, the son of Sachi, is Krishna, the greatest hero, the son of Raja's king. His complexion now golden with Radha's splendor. He performs in Navadweep pastimes that not even Vrindavan can attain. Can you imagine? If your heart is set on crossing beyond the ocean of repeated birth and death, if your heart relishes the sweet nectar of Krishna's Sankirtan, and if your heart yearns to swim and play in the ocean of pure love of Krishna, then please reside in Mayapur. Sri Gaura's transcendental abode, whether seen, touched, glorified, remembered, bowed down to from afar, or worshipped, gives the nectar of pure love for Sri Krishna. So you don't even have to go there. But if you do, it's more potent, and I highly recommend it. Actually, when I came back, devotees told me I was looking effulgent. So somehow, you pick up some special mercy of the Dham. The potency comes inside you. And that's another reason, Gurudeva wanted us to go there. And he says also, going to all the pastime places uncovers our swarup. So, by worshiping Lord Gauda's transcendental abode in this world, one will automatically think oneself lower than a blade of grass, obtain natural gentleness and charm, speak words sweet as nectar, spit at the insignificant sense gratification of this world, lose interest in the affairs of this world, and obtain overwhelming love for Sri Hari. I am tightly bound by chains of limitless horrible desires. I am addicted to millions of sins. My mind is filled with pain. Millions of wicked men mislead me. They're not my friends, except for the holy abode of Gormanda, who is my friend in this world. And I have some notes from Navadvip Bhav Taranga. Anyway, it's very wonderful to read this Navadvip Shatakam. If anybody has it, I recommend it, because Prabodhananda Saraswati goes on and on, so many verses describing the beauties of the Dham and his commitment to live there and how, just throw yourself at the mercy of the Dham, forget everything else, and you will obtain the highest pleasure, the highest happiness, and you'll be taken care of. All your needs will be met. So very, very reinforcing for our bhakti to read his prayers. So in Navadvip, this is Bhaktivinoda Thakur. He says, by Krishna's inconceivable potency as a Achintya Shakti, the Lord has brought the two Dhams, Vrindavan and Navadvip, into the material world in order to liberate the living entities dwelling here. By the power of the mercy of Sri Krishna, may the souls bound in matter someday see these abodes. The basis of qualification is the mercy of Krishna himself and the mercy of his devotees. Out of compassion for the living entities, the sadhus bestow this transcendental qualification unto other devotees by their own association. One cannot attain this by following the paths of jnana, karma, or yoga. Only by means of shraddha, having deep devotional faith, while strictly keeping the association of saintly devotees of the Lord, can one be victorious over matter. The very moment that the living entity gives up the entangling network of material illusions related to the senses, the eyes of the soul will behold the splendor of the spiritual Dham. Aha! Oh, when will I attain that state? When will I see Sri Navadvip Dham so far beyond the mirage of mundane existence? So, from my own experience, I have to say I still have not given up that entangling network of material illusions. I'm still caught in it. Still, so many years I'm living in Vrindavan, and the potency of the Dham works on a subtle platform. And all of us, all the other ladies that are here, we're all experiencing some special mercy from Vrindavan Dham. And all of us are extremely happy. None of us ever want to leave. And even being unqualified, still we're recipients of the mercy of the Dham, and we're experiencing something very deep and we're able to continue living here very miraculously. So we're living proof of what Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying. So when finally makes more advancements after I don't know how many births, then the Dham will reveal her real Svarup. Even so, not experiencing the reality, the true reality underlying what we see here, still we're all very blissful and grateful, completely grateful to be here. Within my sinful heart, the 6 enemies headed by lust perpetually reside, as well as duplicity, the desire for fame, plus sheer cunning. At the lotus feet of Lord Nrsingadev, I hope that he will mercifully purify my heart and give me the desire to serve Sri Krishna. Weeping, I will beg at the lotus feet of Lord Nrsinga for the benediction of worshiping Radha and Krishna in Navadvip, perfectly safe and free from all difficulties. When will this Lord Hari, whose terrible form strikes fear into fear itself, ever become pleased and show me his mercy? So I did. I had to do parikrama by myself. It was a bit bewildering, and I was living way, way off the road near the yoga peak. It took me half an hour just to get to the main road. I was really way out in the boondocks, and it was very bewildering to me to get oriented. Still, somehow, I managed to go over to Nrsingsapalli first. That was my first stop, my first day of parikrama, and so always an extraordinary experience to go there. And this year, I don't know what happened, but the kund was completely empty, no water in the kund. I was very surprised to see that. And there's always a big crowd there. Then from there, I went to Suvarna Bihar, then Harihara Kshetra, then Bhaktivinoda Thakur's place, Swananda Sukara Kunj, and what's the name? Surabhi Kunj in Godruma, the first day. And within the entire 3 worlds, there is no place comparable to Godruma. Oh, my dear mind, just worship the forest of Godruma. By this, you will very soon behold the transcendental treasure of Lord Gaura's pastimes. Seeing the vision of these pastimes, you will easily attain the joyful play of Radha and Krishna. Only this will fulfill all your desires. Whoever lives at Vijayanagar and sings about the glories of Gaura becomes a fortunate teacher and will never know grief. Whoever takes darshan of the area of Vijayanagar and worships Lord Gaura will be freed from all ignorance. So this is very inviting, isn't it, huh? And somehow I got there. It was very bewildering for me that day. I got caught in a huge crowd, but somehow I got pulled along. It was slow moving, and then also visiting Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya's birthplace behind Vijayanagar, that little Gaudiya Math there. That was a very nice experience also. It was a bit of a struggle moving around this year, but somehow we did it. Touched every place. Okay. In Janudweep, Bhaktivinoda visited the hill known as Bhishma Tila. On the top of that hill, he says, I shall stay and perform my worship of the Lord. In the evening, Bhishma Dev, with a pleased mind, will appear before me in his pure spiritual body, his complexion blackish like Krishna's, holding tulsi beads in his hand and marked with 12 tilak marks on his body. He is overflowing with the bliss of constantly chanting the Lord's holy names. He will say to me, listen, O newcomer to Navadvip. Today my words are praising the glories of Lord Gauranga. Long ago, during the battle of Kurukshetra, I was struck down and fatally wounded. While dying, I was able to behold the form of the moon-like Sri Krishna Chandra with fixed attention. At the time of my death, Krishna told me, formerly you had darshan of Navadweep, and by that pious activity you have gained Gauranga's mercy. Thus you have now become the eternal resident of Navadweep. Therefore, I also ask you to please give up all desires, live in Navadweep and worship Gaur Hari. You need no longer fear the bondage of material sense objects, for you will definitely attain the service of Gauranga's lotus feet. So this will happen for us also. After who knows how many births, Gurudev says we're in the fast lane, maybe 3 more births, who knows? So by Mahaprabhu's mercy. So we also will take great joy in blissfully chanting the holy name on and on and on. We will give up all interest in any of the sense objects, and we will attain the service of Sri Gauranga and eventually and Yugal Kishore. By the desire of the Lord, the liberated souls can see at all times the pastimes of Krishna and the pastimes of Gaura in this Dham. Here is the complete absence of the conditioned soul's afflictions, such as lamentation, fear, death, all causes of disturbance, as well as desires to be inimical to the Lord. The pure devotees are intoxicated by drinking the wine of servitude to Sri Krishna, and they are all immersed in the ocean of happiness while performing their respective forms of worship. They do not know the pains of the material world, nor do they experience the difficulty of any wants, because everyone is situated in their pure spiritual bodies, and they possess only perfect desires. The Supreme Lord has multitudes of servants who are limitless in number. His devoted associates come from 2 main categories, the Nityamukt, or eternally liberated souls, and the Buddhamukt, or the liberated souls coming from the material world as former conditioned souls. In these very forests of Navadweep Dham, the Lord performs his eternal pastimes along with each of these devotees according to their own respective emotional mood. So how wonderful, we get direct association with the Lord when we eventually take up residence there in our Swarup. So I don't know how much more time I have. So I have this Astakaliya Leela of Mahaprabhu's Eightfold Daily Pastimes. So it's very wonderful. Mahaprabhu, he gets up early in the morning and he chats with his wife Vishnupriya. Then he takes his bath. And what's he doing all day long? He's meeting with his devotees that come to his house, and they go out, go running around the Dham. They're chanting Harinam Sankirtan with his devotees. Then he'll come back, take some prasad, lie down and rest. Then again, getting up, going out again on Harinam Sankirtan. Then later, coming back home, they go to somebody's house, they go meet with other devotees. Then they again take prasad, rest, take bath in the Ganga. Again, go out on Harinam Sankirtan, and then all night chanting. Early morning, comes back home, lies down for a few minutes, then boom, up again. So this is the life. This is what the Supreme Lord himself takes joy in doing, Krishna lives for pleasure, nothing else. Everything exists for his pleasure. And what does Mahaprabhu do? Krishna comes as Mahaprabhu to taste the highest pleasure. Chanting Harinam, all the joys are in Harinam and in running around the Dham. So the Dham, Navadweep tricked me, forced me to come this year. Really, I told you, gave me quite many punches, but it's all ultimately for my good, get rid of that false ego and all the sinful reactions we have that are due us. So I'm very grateful I got Mahaprabhu's mercy and I survived back home peacefully in Vrindavan. And I hope I can continue every year. Uma Didi, she was there. She's such a trooper. I ran into her also at Nishringapali. Can't keep her down at 88, I think she is. It was just her birthday. So she's a great example for us. So when the world situation allows, okay, all of you will come, and we'll just do Sankirtan around the Dhams. It will be a lot of fun. So I look forward to seeing all of you here. Thank you very much. Okay. Vanchakalpachurvastra kripasindreva patinam pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo namo namaha.
Oh, thank you so much, Vichitri Didi. That's so sweet. Yeah, I think we all felt the mercy of Navadvip Dham coming through you also, even though we couldn't get to be there this year, many of us, but still you were so fortunate and you seem to bring that flow of mercy through your speaking somehow. So that was really, really sweet. And just some nice points that you made, how this book, Navadvip, what's it called? The book you're reading from. Navadvip Satika.
One of them is Navadvip Shatakam, Prabodhananda Saraswati.
Yes. So,
and then Bhaktivinoda Thakur's Navadvip Mahatmya, or Navadvip Bhav Taranga.
Yeah, it's very, very beautiful. How Prabodhananda Saraswati Thakur, he's saying that this Navadvip Dham is my very life and soul, and how merciful and full of all natural opulences. And one nice point you made, how going to all these pastime places, it actually is uncovering our Swarup, you know, so that's, I mean, that's our very goal. So, and how even it's giving the mood of humility, and which is the next subject, what Radhika Didi will be speaking on. So yeah, so many, and of course, only when we give up our sense gratification, all our material desires, then we can behold the transcendental holy Dham. So otherwise, it's not so easy to see this Navadvip Dham and Vrindavan Dham. We may be living there for so many years, but still, when will we get the eyes to see that holy Dham? So very, very nice what you spoke, and really, really appreciate that. So I don't know if you can stay for question and answers at the end. I don't know if anyone. I know it's getting late there in Vrindavan.
Yeah, it's getting late. I'm just going to I'll keep online. I'll listen now. I'm just going to go take my prashad. Okay. I'll be here. I'm here. I'm leaving the computer open.
Okay, thank you so much, Siddhi. Thank
you. Thank you. Very nice to see all of you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for forcing me to speak.
No. It's very, very nice. So glad you spoke. Okay, so Navalatika Didi will now introduce Radhika Didi.
Yeah. Okay, Hare Krishna. So for those who don't know Radhika Didi, Radhika Didi's parents heard from Srila Prabhupada when he visited London in 1970s. And so her siblings were in ISKCON from birth. In 1998, she started her own personal search for Sri Guru and was directed to Srila Gurudeva by Asta Sakhi Didi. She first physically met him in 1999 in Mathura and accepted Harinam and Diksha in the year 2000. She was a teacher in Badger Gurukul, America for some years and is still a teacher now. She's multi-talent, very learned, and gives excellent classes. She sings bhajans and kirtan beautifully from her heart too. So she's very sweet mood, and so I'm very much happy to introduce her. And Radhika Didi, welcome. Thank you for your time, for giving some Harikatha.
Thank you, Didi. Thank you, Navalatika Didi. I wanted to actually start by thanking you as well, Charachandra Didi. Just by giving this service has kept me really busy. thinking about this verse, Chanadapi, for like a few weeks. So before beginning, I'd like to offer my respects and my pranams to our Gurudeva Vaishnavi teachers, to Srila Gurudeva, Gyanati Mirandasya, Gyananjana Shalakaya, Chakshurun Militam Yena, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Radhikaya Priyatmane Shri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Narayani Namine Shri Krishna Kathane Sidaksha Madhurya Madhurya Gunasta Yuktam Varam Varenyam Purusham Mahantam Narayanam Tam Sirasa Namami. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Namine Vancha Kalpatarubhascha Kripa Sindhu Bhayevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. So before beginning, I'm very used to speaking in front of children as a teacher, but now being in front of all of you, you are all my seniors. I feel really grateful that you have always held space for us babies in Gurudev Sangha to just stay infused and engaged in Seva. Chari, you've always kept me engaged in Brahma Seva for Gurudev, and I'm so grateful to you for that, because I have over the years understood how Gurudev, one of his specialities is that he was able to engage us so perfectly in any service that could get us so completely absorbed that we didn't have time for anything else. So, Chari, thank you for being a conduit to that.
Hi, Radhika Didi. Your internet
So
is not.
When speaking
Radhika Didi, your internet's not so well connected. Maybe. I don't know if anyone else is.
Yeah, it feels like frozen.
Yeah, it's a little bit unclear.
Okay.
Now it's better.
It's better now.
Their videos is often better.
Okay.
No. Keep your video on, and maybe others turn their videos off.
That's yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Can try like that.
Okay. Is that better now?
Yes, I think so. You can try. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I'll do my best with this unstable environment that we are constantly finding ourselves in. If anything should inspire you, I am so sure that that has come from Srila Gurudev. And if anything pinches, then that is my own inability to properly understand and present the teachings of our Srila Gurudev. And for that, I beg your forgiveness. It's so wonderful, Vichitri Didi, how Gurudev arranges that Vichitri Didi should share with us all about the glories of Sri Navadvip Dham, having just attempted to honor Sri Gaur Pranim and attempted to be in the Holy Dham, at least by mind and memory. So this verse in Sri Shikshastakam, Trinadapi Sunichena, Tarorapi Sahishnuna, Amanina Manadena Kirtaniya Siddhahari. Srila Gurudev instructed us to wear this verse like a garland or like a necklace around our neck. This verse instructs us how to dance Sri Harinam, as we heard Sri Vichitri Didi said. You know, we have Harinam and everything is in there. Gurudev would constantly tell us that Harinam is our means and our goal, and that this kirtan is our practice. As he wrote in the Bhajan, Brajajanamana, Kirtana Dharma Prachari. This is why Sri Krishna has come in this mood as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, completely enveloped in this bhav of Srimati Radhika. And he would always tell us, first hear and then repeat. I'm not a preacher, I'm only a teacher, but he would give this instruction every year in Bhaja, you know, first hear and then repeat. So following in the processes of devotional service, Shravanam, Kirtanam, that's what we are trying to do. I've always felt like such a baby. But just like young children, they always come to their parents with a book. Please read me this book. I feel like Gurudev for many years, that's what he was doing. He was reading me my bedtime stories. You know, he was reading Jaivadama to us. He was reading Madhurya Kadambini to us. He was reading Bhajan Rahasya to us in all these festivals and Harikatha festivals, the origins of Rath Yatra. He was reading all these things so that we could just hear. And even though I know that at the time then and still now, I didn't fully understand very much. I didn't fully understand anything. In fact, Gurudev said, you know nothing. Still, some impressions are being laid. He is a magician. He can transform hearts. And Gurudev would tell us that this holy name, this Harinam that I have given you, is directly Radha and Krishna. But because of the different stages of our maturity in this bhakti process, this name manifests in greater or lesser degrees. Or sometimes it doesn't manifest. Pure name is Radha and Krishna in transcendental Goloka Vrindavan, is Mahaprabhu in Navadvip Dham, and playing in so many ways in the different rasas that are there. And that this pure name is really served only by liberated souls. But Gurudev would tell us that us as conditioned souls, as Buddha Jivas, even though we cannot serve this pure name yet, we can only, he said, exercise by our tongue and by our minds. He said Krishna is so merciful that even by this practice, if we continue to practice in the association of advanced devotees, and he would say this as though we are still looking for this association, as though he is still looking for this association. And that was always his mood. He always had this mood that he too was always looking for the association of his Guru Pad Padma, his Guru Varga. And with that mood, he would say, you know, if you practice in the association of advanced devotees, and truly serving and establishing your Gurudev's Manobhrishtam, then you can have this perfection of experiencing pure Nam very soon. Vichitri Didi gave so much hope, saying maybe 2 or 3 lifetimes, but in the whole scheme of things, even 100 or 1,000 lifetimes is very small, you know, given how long we have been conditioned in this way. So the verse Sri Mahaprabhu uttered and wrote and left, thinking oneself to be even lower and more worthless than insignificant grass, which has been trampled beneath everyone's feet, being more tolerant than a tree, being prideless, and offering respects to all others according to their respective positions. One can continuously chant the holy name of Sri Hari. So that then Gurudev really unpacked this verse for us, you know, that it may seem quite simple to be humble, to be tolerant, to show respect and not expect any. But he really unpacked for us what those symptoms really look like. And he exemplified those symptoms in his everyday, every moment practice. And he taught us that this Trinadapi Sunichina, this is natural humility, which is born from being completely detached from material sense gratification. And Srila Gurudev exemplified this one time. Somebody asked him in Badger if he had attachment for all of us as his disciples and his children. And he said that he had affection for us all, but no attachment. And I guess we had to really, there was a lot of surprise in that revelation, because we're so accustomed that love looks like attachment. Love looks like I can't live without you, and so we interpret that Gurudev's love must be like this as well, that he can't live without us. But actually, he has so much affection for us, but no attachment. And this too was a manifestation of his own humility. He said that we should always show humility with Vaishnavas. Because that Vaishnavas see with proper vision. Vaishnavas are aligned with serving Krishna. They are aligned with their understanding that we are the eternal servants of Krishna. So they can see with proper vision. So with any Vaishnava, we always show humility. We always aspire to be more lower than a blade of grass. And we show them, he would say that you show them that you have no attachment to gratification, and no attachment to ego. I think I said already, one of the first kind of really powerful instructions that Gurudev said that really impacted me so deeply was when he just said to me, you know nothing. And in that moment, my ego flared up saying, wait a minute, I've been, going to the temple since I was a baby. I know some things. And simultaneously, with him looking and straight into my soul, I guess, I realized, oh, I know nothing. It was such a peaceful place to be. Oh, I know nothing. Okay, then you can feed me. You can teach me. And he showed that we needed to have no attachment to our own ego, even of the knowledge that we think we might have at any moment. So Gurudev also explained how even though grass is material, grass is a living entity with a material body, but the grass's ego is reasonable. It's reasonable to its position in life. If some pressure is put on grass, it will bend and it lowers itself. But our ego is unreasonable. He said that because we're not really relating to our pure constitutional nature. We aren't like grass. If any resistance comes to us, we fight, or we run away, fight or flight. But Gurudev was teaching that really it's the position of us with relationship to our own ego that is our obstacle in developing on this process. So to wear like a necklace around the neck, this gem of Trinadapi Sunichina, and then with tolerance, Tarora Api Sahishnuna, accepting only those things that are appropriate for the maintenance of one's life. And he showed that by his example, and he showed us directly that so we could relate, like Didi was saying, I did spend a lot of time in Badger, California, trying to serve Gurudev's children there, trying to associate with Gurudev's children there. And one time, I ended up in those 5 years only having 2 bags that I would travel back and forth from the US to England to India with. And one time, one of those bags was lost. And I was so upset. And I went to Gurudev and I was like, I've lost everything. Everything was in that bag. Everything that, you know, photo albums of things that I wanted to keep with me, and tapes and letters, and, you know, the clothing I still had, but, you know, even a hairdryer I was so attached to. And I was so upset, and I went to Gurudev and he was like kind of making fun of me, I felt at the time, but really just pacifying me. Oh, you know, all these things are not necessary for you. That's why they have gone. And look what I have. I only have 1 bag, you know, like this, really trying to pacify me. But I was like, I'm not ready to let go of all these things. But Gurudev was very slowly showing us what this Tarora Pisahishnana is, what this tolerance is, that you know, whatever's taken from you is taken from you. Whatever, you know, is cut into you is cut into you, but you continue with your duty, with your service, just like the tree does that. And one time I saw him giving instructions to an elder God sister, Prabhupada disciple, about renouncing and giving things up and moving to the holy Dham. And I was listening with rapt attention, thinking, I want that instruction too. And I said, Gurudev, when can I do these things as well? And when will you give this instruction to me? And he looked at me very seriously and he said, not artificially, my dear darling daughter, not artificially. So sincerity is really key as well. And he told me, your heart will feel happy in this process. It's not, it's painstaking, but the result of it is a happiness that you will feel in your heart. He also instructs, chase material happiness, just like you don't chase material distress. He would say these things come as reactions to our previous activities. This happiness and distress comes. And one really strong instruction he gave when I was experiencing some distress trying to get to the US, and he said, tolerate and forgive. Let things go. So that was a really strong instruction of how, you know, we have this example of a tree that is showing tolerance, but trees don't hold on to any harm that comes to them or any upset or disturbance that comes to them. They don't stop flowering in the spring because they've had a really harsh winter. They continue with their duty. They don't even stop giving their fruits if they are attacked by some insect or anything like this. So he said, tolerate and forgive and let it go. Then Amani, Amani now, I'm having pure compassion that is devoid of envy. It's quite often easy for us as human beings to feel pity or sympathy for others. But for the most part, Gurudev showed us at one time that for the most part, our pity and our sympathy for others is often tinged with envy. Because he said that we feel like we're in a better position than that person. And so then we can pity them. But this isn't pure compassion. This isn't the pure compassion that he is trying to teach us that he would show. he explained to us in Vajra one time, he explained that we don't need to be superior to feel compassion. Without superiority, we can feel jealousy instead of compassion. But Gurudeva was very gentle in giving this instruction that you don't need superiority. You do not need to be in a better position than someone else to feel compassion. And many times we hear Gurudev telling us in his classes that this envy, this jealousy really doesn't have a place. It's that one mood that it doesn't have a place in the spiritual world, you know. And then this fourth system of mana dena is about having a purity of heart that is free from all materialistic false ego. That the soul's ego, I read this recently, that the soul in Jivadhamma, you know, that the soul's ego is actually to be an eternal servant of Krishna. And that this materialistic false ego is to become a servant to Krishna's Maya energy, you know, that energy there, because we think we can enjoy. But actually that all living entities are servants of Krishna, and having this attitude of respect towards all. I think I personally really learned this, that giving respect to all according to their respective positions. And Gurudev exemplified this so perfectly in his own behavior. And that respect looked like love and affection. That is how he showed respect to all, through love and affection. That Vaishnavas do not consider anything to be inferior to themselves. So this one time in Mathura, I think it was around the time of Ram Navami, but I can't remember exactly. And I was trying to find my notes to find the exact time, but maybe you all know, my seniors will know. But we were in Mathura and Gurudev was giving this class, and he was explaining about how Vaishnavas do not consider anything to be inferior to themselves. And he was giving an example how Krishna even tested Arjun. And that one time in after the war, then he instructed Arjun, because Arjun was so beautiful, Arjun was so talented, Arjun was so close to Krishna, Arjun was so competent. Then he tested Arjun. He said to Arjun, I want you to go out and find that thing which is the most lowest in existence. And Gurudev was giving this class in Hindi, and he was saying this pastime, and he was saying he told him to go out. So Arjun, he went out to the marketplace, and he was looking here and there, and he was looking at you know, the different people that were there. And he's a great king, and he was looking around and he was observing. He was saying, you know, they're so simple in their living, and they depend on Krishna for their everything. No, they are not lower than me. And then he's looking to the animals and how they're foraging around for their food. Again, he was thinking how, they are also so completely dependent on Krishna. Krishna is the king of this kingdom, and they're all completely dependent. So already Arjun has this mood of deep humility. He's looking around, and he's in the market, and he's seen all these things, and he cannot find, for the life of him, he cannot find anything that is lower than himself. And then he sees this stool on the ground. And I was there with a god sister of ours, Haripriya Dasi, and we were both started laughing at this point, because Gurudev said that Arjun went to the stool and he picked up the stool. And he said, okay, this has got to be the lowest of everything that is in existence. And he was ready to take this to Krishna and say, tell Krishna, I have found the thing that is lower than me. And then Gurudev said in Hindi, he said, Phir wo tatti bolne laga. He said, then that stool started to speak. So Haripriya and I, we immediately were laughing so much, thinking, okay, this is a pastime where stool is speaking. And Gurudev explained this extraordinary pastime. That this stool said, oh, where are you taking me? And Arjun explained, oh, Lord Krishna has told me to go and find that thing that is the lowest of the low, and what could be lower than stool in the street? And the stool said, oh, really? You know, yesterday I was a tasty kulfi ice cream. I was puri, hot fried puri. I was fresh mango. And you know, after just one day's association with you, look at what I have become. Immediately, Arjun realized, oh, through association with our body, even the most delicate of foodstuff becomes like this. And he realized, and he went back, Gurudev explained, he went back to Krishna and he told him, me, I'm the lowest thing in existence. That is me. And Gurudev explained that actually Krishna is giving this pastime just like the whole Leela of Gita is there for us to learn. Really, Arjun is his Nitya Parika. He is not, bewildered by who Krishna is. But for our sakes, he has accepted this position just so that we can learn how to be rendered, how to ourselves as eternal servants of Krishna. So Gurudev I remember he would always encourage us to read Jayavadhamma. It is the first bedtime story I heard from him, reading Jayavadhamma in Aberystwyth in Wales, morning and evening, just reading through these pages and explaining. And this literature opens with this understanding that we are Jivara Swarupa Hoye Krishna Nitya Dhas, that we are the eternal servants of Krishna. And it explains, and Gurudev explains, that this influence of Maya covers this transcendental reality. And that what we're hearing actually from him is really difficult for us to realize, because no material words can actually, they're not pure enough to give actual understanding and realization. And that this will only come by sadhana. But he said that your doubt can go away if Krishna comes himself to speak to you. That understanding and realizing these truths about Sri Nam, this Hari Nam he's given, depends on practicing bhakti yoga, chanting Mahamantra in elevated association. And Krishna will speak to us. And Sri Guru is that condensed mercy of Krishna. So Sri Guru has come and as Krishna's condensed mercy and is speaking to us. And he was saying that from the beginning of his life, he never had any doubt. Words of Gurudev. He said he chanted a lot and served the Vaishnavas and Gurudev thoroughly and sincerely. He said he always humbly asked Gurudev questions, and he revealed to us that only then to realize the answers. So Gurudev can give the answers to us through our Guru Mantra. We are connecting with him through the Harinam that he has given to us. We are connecting with Sri Guru, and Sri Guru can give us these answers. And he said, just always follow these principles, and gradually all these doubts that we have constantly popping up in our minds will disappear, that we'll be calm, that we'll be quiet, and not only do bhajan externally, but actually one day he said he will take the essence of our heart and offer it to Shri Shri Radha Krishna. So with that, I am offering my pranams to all of you and thanking you for allowing me to experience some remembrance, some smaran of my Srila Gurudev, our Srila Gurudev, and his exceptional teachings in the line of our, like Vichitri Didi said, incredible Guru Varga, in the line of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, this Gaudiya Vaishnava tradition, these exceptional teachings that can actually release us from the miseries that surround us in our environments, and actually transform those miseries into learning experiences and opportunities. Vancha kalpatarubhasya kripa sindhu vayavacha patitanam pavnebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha.
Oh, thank you so much, Radhika Didi. That was so nice to be reminded of this such important instruction of Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Tanada Pisanishana, Torah Pisishana, Amani Namanadina Kirtanya Sadahari. So Gurudev, like you said, Gurudev said that we should wear this slok, this verse, around our necks like a necklace, garland. And of course, how can we chant the holy names, especially how can we chant continually if we don't practice this Tranada Pisanishana? And you gave some very, very nice points. How you said everything is in Harinam, and of course, liberated souls are serving Harinam. It's not so easy, at least it may my condition, to serve Harinam, but under guidance it's possible. Then certainly we can attain this goal, even if it takes some lifetimes. But you know, to imbibe this instruction, really, humility, you said, is knowing nothing. Gurudev would always say, and you mentioned that you told Gurudev, Gurudev told you that actually you don't know anything. But you know, Gurudev said many times, Gyan is nothing but realization, Vigyan. That is everything. But how will we get this Vigyan, this realization? And actually by practicing this Tranada Pisanishana can come the understanding we're lower than blade of grass. And even a blade of grass, the ego of grass will fight back once it's been trampled on. But yeah, if we what to speak, our false ego gets knocked, then we're ready to fight back, maybe more. You know how we cannot tolerate. So and you mentioned about the tree, how the tree is so tolerant, and the tree is always giving, no matter what that tree undergoes. So, and also how we can give all respects to others, not expect any respects for ourselves. This is not easy. It's a bit, you said it may seem like such an easy instruction, but in practical reality, how many of us can really practice this Tranada Pisanishana? So you mentioned how it was an interesting point that you said how that, you know, we all want to have this compassion, but sometimes this compassion, it's tinged with envy, and you know, with like looking down on others, we're feeling better than others. So to have pure compassion is not so easy. But that story you told was very, very nice about, I think Vichitri Didi, actually, she you shared that story, isn't it, Vichitri Didi? You shared it recently. What,
which story?
The story that she Radhika Didi told about the Arjuna, when Krishna was testing him, and he had to find, you know, something.
Yeah, I just read it recently also.
Yeah.
I don't remember where.
Right, okay. Yeah, so very, very beautiful story, and very nice meaning, that actually we ourselves, we're, you know, lower than the lowest thing even store. This is a teaching for us. And you mentioned how Vaishnavas don't consider themselves superior, but always consider themselves inferior to others. And yeah, so many nice points made. The soul's ego is the real ego of being the eternal servant. And, you know, in false ego, we think ourselves servants of Maya. And what Gurudev taught us, how to how he would give respect to all, but this is through his, you know, transcendental love and affection. So we don't have that, but you know, in following Gurudev, we could try to develop this more and more. Anyway, I don't know if Navalatika did you want to say something about what Vichitra Didi spoke and what Radhika Didi spoke?
Yeah.
Before we open for questions and answers.
Yeah, I'm really grateful for listening to this wonderful Harikatha from Srila Gurudev, that you both were there listening that Harikatha. You are so fortunate. I'm just really a baby, but it reminds me when I was translating one lecture from Gurudev in one video, because I'm translating to Spanish. He said that this mood of humility will come as much as we do our sadhana, as much as we develop prema. So when prema comes, the real humility will be there. If there is also real humility there, is because you have love for Krishna, you have prem. So I think this is because sometimes we try to do this this humbleness, this mood very artificially, just to look like we are devotees, no? So, but still we don't feel this humble mood. So also Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati Thakur used to say that the characteristic of the Vaishnavas are like Saralata e Vaishnavata. Saralata means simplicity. The character of the Vaishnava is very simple, is without duplicity, niskapata. So, but we are very complicated because of our ego, right? We are very, we are expecting, we are complicated many situations that they are very simple, only because of our ego. So, if we aspire, so if to become a Vaishnava, if we aspire to become a servant, you know, like to be really truthful to our real ego, so we have to maintain this, right? Like Saralata e Vaishnavata, very simply. The Vaishnavas are very simple heart and without any duplicity. So I think that this will keep, this will make a really good impression, samskaras, when we are chanting the Harinam, that would cleaning our bad samskaras, bad anarthas, our anarthas. So I think that this verse is, like you said, and both of many of us know, but we don't wear this necklace of this sloka. But I pray also for all my god sisters to one day to become like that and be more humble. So yeah, that's the only thing. Actually, I have a question, but I can ask after all the questions that I'm looking here in the chat. Thank you very much.
Very nice. Thank you, Navalati. Very, very sweet. There was one question I saw here from Shamarani Didi. I don't know if there's any questions before that.
That's the first question.
Okay. Shamarani Didi, would you like to ask that question directly? You might be able to phrase it better than me. Are you there?
Yes. Radhika Didi, she saw my question and she replied in private message. I still struggle basically because it's a
I can answer it publicly if you want to. I answered it privately because I don't think it was to do with Gurudev. I think it's to do with me personally. So that's why I answered it privately, but I can answer it publicly if you like.
Can
No
everyone turn off their videos
problem. You're
again?
asking what attitude you should endeavor to develop.
Wait, Radhika Didi, the internet connection's not good with all the videos on. Okay, so if everyone, yeah. Radhika Didi, you can turn your video on. I'll turn mine off. Now that's fine. Okay, good.
Oh yes, I'll just add something that the devotee said that they sent it to me, but I've never received it, and because I had to struggle.
I'm signing off.
Oh, I had to struggle on and on and
Signing
on,
off.
back and forth, back and forth. It was so difficult, and finally the devotee said that they sent it, but I didn't receive it. In my heart, I doubt, and I'm struggling because I so much love this devotee and I have so much respect for this devotee, but I don't understand why this devotee did not reply, ignored my, never responded to my numerous texts, and I'm left with a heavy heart, and it's not good for me. So I asked the question because I need help.
Okay, I understand. I can only apologize to you to say that I'm sorry that you're left feeling that way. But that is nothing to do with my Gurudev. That is because of my shortcomings, not my Gurudev's.
Can you explain what is the question exactly?
So Shamarani Didi asked me to make some outfits for her Thakurdjis, and then she had to leave because she was moving countries and her outfits were not finished, and she left part of the outfit with me to finish, and I actually forgot to finish them because I have my other services in my life to do. And then Yashashvani, quite late after that, Yashashvani Didi called me to remind me. So I put them in the post, still unfinished because I didn't have the time or energy to give that. So they were still unfinished, but I just put them in the post and you still haven't received them. So now you are feeling that you're feeling ignored and you are wondering what attitude you should endeavor to develop. I'm asking for you to forgive me for that. I couldn't finish them. I sent them as they were. I'm sorry if you haven't received them.
Okay, I understand now. I just needed to clarify this because it's really heavy, and
I understand.
But now I understand. I just did not understand basically why. I didn't want to bring it personal here. I just wanted to remain. But anyway, sorry about this because I tried to contact you and there's no reply. So I take this opportunity to see you here to be able to ask this question so I can relieve my heart. So
I'm sorry you've held it in your heart this long.
Because
I know that I know that my Srila Gurudev would not want me to. This isn't humility, to inflict any pain on anyone else's heart. So I'm sorry that your heart has felt heavy in all this time. I just ask you to understand that it just wasn't a priority for me right now, and I sent them back unfinished. They weren't finished. And I offer you my apologies for that.
Well, this I accept 100% and I'm relieved. One last question is I do not understand your silence of not replying to my questions and not letting me know that you sent it and me asking. And I don't understand, the lack of communication.
Okay, so maybe...
Can I just say something?
Yeah,
yes,
sorry.
Yes, please.
It seems that it's a kind of personal.
It is. Sorry, I'm really sorry.
Okay, Haribol, we leave it there. Maybe you can write to me and please do.
Sorry, Charu.
It's okay. Thank you, Didi. Thank you. Does anyone else have any questions? like what Vichitri Didi spoke. I think there was one question I saw.
Yeah, also Yashodanandan Das Prabhu has one question.
Yes.
Related to this verse, Trinada P.
Sure.
Haribo, Dandavat.
Dandavat Prabhu.
Haribo, Navalak, Haribo, Chara, Haribo, Vichitri, and Radhika. Firstly, Radhika, that was a very, very dignified response, and I thought Gurudev would be really proud of you that you're able to respond, actually applying Trinadapi in action. So I was really impressed by that. That was very beautiful. I had a question about Trinadapi, which is the following. What happens when somebody, or it feels like somebody's really wronged you? I'm not talking about small stuff. I'm talking about you just really feel that someone has done something really wrong to you. Is Trinadapi simply just forgiving and moving on and not saying anything, or are we able to express something about the wrong that you feel that's been caused to you? Would that be breaking, going against Trinadapi, or can you reconcile that somehow? How does self-expression and Trinadapi, self-expression as in expressing that wrong, reconcile with Trinadapi, or perhaps it doesn't?
Radhika Didi, or was that question aimed at Radhika Didi?
Yeah, it was. But if Charu or if the teacher wants to answer that, I'm happy with any answer.
Okay.
So you're saying if someone has wronged you, should you say anything to that person?
No, not should you say anything, but if you want to say anything, say someone did X to me and I feel wronged, then if I express that hurts me, it's kind of like, say it's a major thing, is that somehow not Trinadapi because I'm expressing that they've made me feel X, Y, Z, they've done this to me? Or can I somehow reconcile expressing that sentiment with Trinadapi? Not should I, that's my choice, but if I want to, can I reconcile that with Trinadapi? And how do I?
So actually, like if you have Gurudev's Sri Shikshastikam in that chapter on verse 3, like I was reading as well that Gurudev was saying about that verse as well, that you shouldn't inflict any pain on any living entity. So even if someone has wronged you, like what Gurudev has said when he was speaking about tolerating, forgiving, and letting go, it's not that you like harbor it in and keep quiet about it, is that you don't inflict pain. And if you are receiving pain yourself, what I've always heard him say is to understand, there's one aspect is to understand that's, taktena kampam, that's something that happiness and distress, they come as part of reactions to your life. But am I understanding you correctly? Is that what you're asking?
Carry on. Give me the full answer, and then I'll tell you.
Well, that's what I understood. That
so what you're saying is that if someone does something wrong to me, if I then respond by saying, "Hey, you really hurt me by doing this X, Y, Z," you're saying I'm inflicting pain on them, and I shouldn't do that.
That you shouldn't do that.
Is that what you're saying? I shouldn't do that because I'm then just inflicting.
No, because I think, like, my understanding of it is that if some wrong has come to you, you don't just assume that person has done that deliberately, but then if you then reciprocate and retaliate with then inflicting pain on that person, then you're doing it a bit more consciously because it's coming as a retaliation, isn't it? And we're only really responsible for our own activities. We can't take responsibility for someone else's actions because we don't know the whole situation anyway of what's coming from them, or if it's coming from them. Just now we saw with Shamrani Didi, Dasi, she is coming with her experience of this exchange between two individuals. And I will be coming from my experience of the exchange as well. But we are only responsible for our part, really. So how we choose to act and how do I reveal all the things that are happening in my life to everybody? No, I don't. Does the other person reveal everything that's happening that is causing this reaction? So we can continue in this reactive behavior, or we can choose to understand as opposed to overstand. Trinadapi is to understand, isn't it? And understanding quite often means holding space and hearing that other person that you're in an exchange with out, hearing them out, and just trying to understand where they're coming from, not battling.
So maybe therefore, so someone seemingly wrongs me, rather than me saying, hey, you did this to me, it really hurt, I didn't like it. Maybe my response should be, based on what you just said, is can I please have some time to inquire with you into why this happened, so I can understand what you did and understand my experience of what you did. So therefore, I'm not bringing assumptions to the table. I'm in a process of inquiry into the actions of the other. Is that how to reconcile Trinada P with
sure
open communication?
Sure.
Okay, it's good. Because it's really funny, because like recently I had a situation where I opened up on a forum, on a Zoom call, about something that someone had done to me, and about 3 people called me independently asking if it was them. And I said, no, it wasn't you at all. So assumptions can be very easy in human interactions. You think someone did something to you, but actually usually it has nothing to do with you. Great, thank you.
Vichitri Didi, are you still there? Vichitri Didi? She's not. I think she's gone. Bimala Didi, she had an answer also to this question. Bimala Didi, do you want to repeat what you said, or I can read it out? She said, it's when we realize Tateno Kampansa Samikshamano, then we won't think anyone has wronged me. Only I'm receiving reactions from my past sinful activities. So I thought that was a very nice answer as well. I don't know if anyone else wants to.
I think there is
anything.
another question from Tarun Prabhu. Why is Navadvip called Swetadip in the spiritual world? Here?
She's not here, huh? She's not here anymore. No. Oh, that's a shame. So does anyone want to answer Radhika Didi? Do you know why?
Well, it's from Tarun Prabhu, maybe.
Why Navadvip is called Swetadvip in the spiritual world?
The only thing I know is Navadvip means 9 islands, right? But in the spiritual world, it isn't just limited to 9 islands.
Mm-hmm. Doesn't Sweta mean white? Is it?
It does. But I do know that in the spiritual world, it's not limited to 9 islands. I think we have Prabhuji, Mukunda Prabhu. You.
I was thinking Mukunda Prabhu could maybe.
Could you elaborate?
Swetadvip is a synonym for Navadvip or for Golok. So in Chaitanya Charitamrita, it's mentioned Sri Golok Swetadipa Vrindavananam. So Swetadvip is just a synonym to describe Sri Vrindavan Dham. And of course, Navadvip Dham is non-different from Vrindavan Dham. So there's not really a differentiation. It's just like a synonym for Navadvip or for Golok. It's written in Chaitanya Charitamrita, I think, and maybe 5th chapter. I don't know where, just remembering the verse.
Mm.
But yes, Charo Didi is also correct. Sweta means white. And there is a Sweta Dweep, which is a Vaikuntha planet within the material cosmos. When Brahma, Ji, and other demigods need to approach the Lord for an incarnation, they go to that Sweta Dweep. So there is a planet, a Vaikuntha planet within the material realm where they go to pray for an incarnation. So that's something different. But outside of that, Swetadweep is a synonym for either Goloka Vrindavan or for Navadvip Dham.
Very nice. Did you want to add anything to what Radhika Didi said about Trinadapi Sanishana according to Shodanandan Prabhu's question?
I thought everyone answered very nicely. One thing is, and I think Brihad Bhagavatamrita maybe mentioned, Paripokena Dhanasya Krishna Prema Aja Sanvitanyate. So humility is truly a spiritual sentiment. So in the conditioned jiva, just by having a hamkara, a false ego, actual humility is not possible. So the verse is saying, proportionate to the development of Krishna consciousness, parasparam apiyetan, karya karya michyate, the true feature called dhainya bhav, which is actual humility, develops proportionate to the advancement in Krishna consciousness. So our acharyas have given us the maryada and the etiquette, like mentioned in Upadeshamritam, how Vaishnava should deal one to another. And that becomes our insulation for the practice of humility before we have the genuine sentiment. So other than that, I think what everyone already spoke, especially Yashodanandan Prabhu, gave some insight. The exchange between him and Radhika was very nice. How to pragmatically put that into practice. And also who quoted Tate Anukampam. Also, that was very important because you have to look at it from that angle also. That actually, whatever happens to me, I have to think Atmakritam. Genesis is from me, not from someone else.
Yeah, very nice point. And Gurudeva would always say, unless you have real bhakti, then you cannot have real humility. So that's perfectly true. As we develop in our bhakti, we develop in our humility, and it becomes real as our bhakti. Sorry, I went on mute then. As our bhakti becomes real, our humility becomes real, pure.
Again, you were.
Was there any, sorry, was there any, keep going on mute. Was there any other questions? Anyone else? Any on Facebook? Did you see any? No.
No.
Okay.
Questions on Facebook.
Okay. All right. So I guess if no one has any more questions, then we can bring the meeting to a close. And I'd definitely like to thank Vichitri Didi. It's late for her now in Vrindavan, so she had to go to sleep. But I thank her. Really, she gave such a nice class about so many nice points she made about Navadvip Dham, all the qualities of Navadvip Dham and how we can enter into Navadvip Dham. And Radhika Didi also gave beautiful class about Trinadapi Sanishana, which like Navalatika Didi said, that I also pray that this mood of Trinadapi Sanishana can enter my heart. Unless we have this mood, then how can we possibly chant purely, continually like this? This is such an important teaching. So Radhika Didi spoke very, very nicely on that, reminding us of this verse, the meaning of this verse. And thank all those who asked questions, Shamarani Didi, Yashodanandan Prabhu, and very, very nice questions and very nice answers from Radhika Didi and Mukunda Prabhu. Thank you so much. Prabhuji gave such nice answers also. And for all those who are listening, all those who joined this program today, I thank you very much for joining, and we definitely hope to see you again. I definitely would like to ask that if anyone, any lady would like to speak on this forum in the future, or they know any lady would like to speak, maybe Mukunda Prabhu, your wife. I know she's very shy, but
Yeah, very.
maybe you could encourage her. It would be nice. Anyone you know.
When will you speak sometime, Didi, also? I also like hearing you speaking.
Oh, well, I like to give others opportunity, but maybe sometime I can try.
Also, one last thing, I wanted to thank Radhika Didi and Vichitra Didi for the stool story, because now I will add to my Harikatha somewhere. I had never heard before. So even though Gurudev must have told many times, I never heard. So.
Yeah, very, very nice. Very good purport. So, Radhika Didi, would you like to sing more mantra to close? That'd be great. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Gurudeva, 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 Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaura Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaura Hari Bol. Srila Gurudev ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Shri Rupanuga Guru Varga ki jai, Tai Go Premanandi, Hari Hari Bol.
Hari Bol. Thank you, Didi.